From Detroit, Rock City to Los Angeles, California, from Winnemucca, Nevada to Miami, Florida, let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. How's it going, everybody?
Good. How you doing?
Good. How you doing,
Good.
Christian?
Good.
So, how's your week been? I've been gone. Haven't really talked to anybody. I got back today. Well, I got in the office today. What about you, Mike? What have you been up to there in Roanoke?
I've had a rough week.
I heard.
Yeah, I don't think I need to mention any brokerage names.
No, I won't. But just going like I told you
No, I won't.
earlier. I won't. But fuck them all. Get the air horn ready. I already told you.
Cowbell.
Yeah. No, that'll be the only one, I promise. No.
He told me earlier, get the air horn.
So I'll just go through and you help me, figure some of these out, what you would have done. I know pretty much, nothing I could have done for the most part on some of them. But so Dala, he picked up a load that was going up, that Florida load to Minneapolis. He was supposed to deliver Friday. When he was picking it up, I knew he wouldn't make the appointment time. I called. It was a Metal Art customer load. Told him. They changed the appointment to 1, which I told him it'd probably be around 2, but we'd see if we could make it. And he didn't make it till about 2:30, and they closed at 2 on Friday. So he had to sit the weekend. I had a couple loads for him throughout the weekend, and to get him back down to orientation. So I had to cancel all those. And he sat the weekend with no layover or anything. So, he was late, so nothing, can't really argue layover, so that was that. Robbie, he had a 2-stop load going up to Michigan, and he was an hour late also, and that was supposed to be delivered Monday, but they just wouldn't take him the next day. Thursday's the earliest he could get unloaded from that. We tried calling the receiver if they had any cancellations, anything. They were just
So it
really
seems like it was just a
rude
landslide.
and all at once, and just a combination of me just feeling burnt out, because I answer these guys' phones. I don't know. I need to utilize you guys after hours more, because I answer. They all call my cell phone, and then call the office phone from 5 in the morning until 10 at night.
Yeah.
Answering.
Well, that's
texts
why
and calls.
And speaking of after hours, we do have our new after hours person. Today he started. He's training. Austin will be probably in a week. He'll be sometime early next week. He'll be on. But that's what it's there for. Everybody needs a break.
Yeah. So, but that it was I don't know, Robbie. So that's what I wanted to ask you about Robbie. So so Monday, we got through Monday. They said they were going to try to get him an appointment for Tuesday. So I figured we'd wait to see if we could get him an appointment Tuesday. And then we couldn't. We found out probably 11 in the morning or so Tuesday. So at that point, we know he's going to get offloaded Thursday. Would you have cross-stocked the load? It's a 2-stop, $10. It would have been $10 a pallet, $400 to redeliver, plus probably a little bit extra for the second stop. It would have came out to about, I don't know, $800 or $900.
What'd the total load pay?
38.
And so if you would have cross-docked it, what was the first day you could have got it on a dock and got him moving?
Well, had I have just cross-docked it Monday, there would have been no question that would have been worth it, right?
And would that company that you found, would they have delivered it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have probably dumped it on a dock and went and got moving.
Yeah, if it was early on. And the other thing is that
Monday,
the broker was going to make us responsible for
paying
hiring.
For it.
Yeah,
I
the
heard
other
that.
company.
Yeah, so they
Even
didn't
at
want to.
that-
They said we could do it. They didn't want to have anything to do with it, but they said they were okay with it. But the thing is it had already Monday, no question. Like Monday, if we would have just did it Monday, no question. But Monday, it was the possibility of getting it off Tuesday,
Oh,
right?
I see. So you couldn't get an
So,
answer from them.
right. So, and then 11 o'clock in the morning, I'd say 11 or 12 Tuesday, we get an answer that they can't get it off. So now it's to the point where, okay, by the time we get it off at the Crossdock, he only has Wednesday. So so I was trying to figure out, can he make up the money to pay for the Crossdock by running and still be profitable
Well,
beyond what the Crossdock
Christian, you chime in on this too,
costs?
because I'm sure you guys have seen it. But, and Mike, over the years in trucking, things happen. I'm pretty adamant about if there's a situation like that and the revenue's good on the load, sometimes you just got to cut your losses, put it on a dock the first day available, and then move on. So now it's not as sweet as a load as it was, but over the next couple of loads, maybe you can make up some of that. You're talking about $800 or $900. That's, you have to make up, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he's going to deliver Thursday.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, and it's just a tough call.
Yeah, like I said, Monday, no question, getting it off. If we could have just went Monday straight to a Crossdock, got it off Monday, no question, he could have made it up. But then it was, okay, we're not going to have it off till Tuesday afternoon.
So you
probably won't get a load till Wednesday, right? So then you got to make up, say it costs, well, with the extra stop, it probably would have been $800 to $1,000 for a Crossdock. So then you got to make up that money plus still be profitable. He has to still be profitable, right? Because you don't want to Crossdock it and get another load and you're only paying for the Crossdock with that next load, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You still got to pay for the Crossdock and be profitable.
Yeah, we can hear you, Christian.
Yeah, I think it depends on where he's at and where he's going. We always say, typically when Santa Claus comes around, when we got to pay somebody to get them unloaded, it depends where they're at and where you can put them. If it's just a break even on the load, that's one thing. But if we look at where the next load is going, and then can we daisy chain to make that next load help cover that cost too? So even if it was a $900 or $1,200 load, but it got them to an area that's warm, like we talked about cherries last week, or we got, somewhere like Ohio, where you can put a banger on them after it. We pay it all day long. Part of it is the money, but part is just the frustration of sitting around. And it's a lot of thinking time. And I know guys would rather be driving down the road earning money, or at least feeling like they're participating.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard though.
It is, and you know what? We've all been through it. I've been through it in a truck. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you, Mike. In trucking, things happen. All our drivers out there listening, Ray, Mark, you're on with us. It happens.
Happened to me.
You get stuck. It's the unfortunate part of it. I do think that we've all been pretty lucky this year because of the backlogs that all these shippers and receivers have had, that we haven't had too many incidents like this. It's been few and far between. Right. Ian, I think we've only probably put maybe a load or two this year on a Crossdock. Probably only one.
Yeah, I don't even think that we have had to.
Or was it maybe last year? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
I think
it's amazing, Russ. It's amazing when they need their products, how they're willing to work around, come in Saturdays, stay late if they have to receive it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And that was, and my thing was, again, if Monday, no question, could have got it on a Crossdock, but when it went into Tuesday afternoon, it's like, all right, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Is it still going to be, can you still pay for the Crossdock and then be profitable in that time? But it is what it is at this point.
It is. So he's going to deliver.
Yeah.
He's going to deliver tomorrow, Mike.
Yeah, he'll get it off tomorrow, and then
we roll on. Then you probably something short one day, Thursday to tomorrow's Thursday, Thursday to Friday, and then work on getting him to a good area for Friday. And it's not going to make up for the days, but and Robbie's been in this long enough to know. I mean, Robbie's even teamed with me. Things happen. You gotta kind of have the case of amnesia, forget, and move on. And
it's good advice.
And he knows
that's what you got to do.
And he knows it was. He was an hour late. He busted his butt to get there, but he was an hour late. It was tight on hours and just.
And they don't look.
They just wouldn't take it.
A lot of places they don't care. I mean,
no, they wouldn't take, and And to the broker's credits, it's one we don't really care for. But I talked to her directly, and they were calling, like trying to get.
Honestly, Ray, you were stuck on a load of toilet paper. Do you remember that last year during COVID?
Yeah, I do. And I was also stuck on a load of canned food too, and that was the year before. And you got me out of both of them situations.
Yeah, and
by cross-stocking them.
The funny thing was, no one had toilet paper on the shelves, and something happened, and Ray couldn't make the time. It wasn't his fault. And we could not get it, and we're like, no, you don't have toilet paper on the Walmart shelves. We can't get it, but you won't take Ray. He's got a load of toilet paper.
That's right. They did take it. They called me back. I left them a callback number, and they called me back. It was the second shift that came in. They said, "Hey, I understand you have a load for us, and it's toilet paper." And I said, "Yes, I do." I said, "We're already trying to figure out something else to do with it," and they're like, "Well, no, just come in."
They needed it.
I said, "Okay," and I drove over there, and they passed me by the guards knew they're waiting for me, and they slipped me on in. Yeah, that's right. I forgot
that was a hot, high value load.
Yep.
During the last year.
More valuable
during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just happens, and that's like I said earlier. Sometimes
the one that really upset me was Lee's though. He busted his butt through the weekend to get. I thought for sure I was going to have to cancel 2 loads for him, but he got a 34-hour in. I got him some weekend runs, and he had to be home by Tuesday. Something with the family, and he got a 34-hour in, made everything on time. The very last one, he got there, and it was a 61-minute window, and he checked in 59 minutes, right? Or 58 minutes, whatever it was. And on their little sign, it was 61 minutes, but he checked in, he had the wrong PO number. So I call, they said this load's already been delivered. I get him a new PO number, probably takes 30 minutes. He goes back in, they say, we're refusing the load. And we're closing, you have 5 minutes to leave.
Yeah, that
to get off the property.
Yeah.
And then he had to be home. So the broker, I'm telling her, like, hey, this is what we were told. I know they're not going to take it. He has to be home. He lives 60 miles away. He's going home. Figure out if we can redeliver or take it back to the shipper. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she kept insisting we wait. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I have someone on the ground right there that told him he could not wait there. He had to leave. And, he's got to be home so we can redeliver it or take it back to the shipper. But let me know.
Well, what ended up what
you
happened,
guys usually,
Mike?
She called me back and tried to tell me that he was never at the receiver. He never checked in at the receiver. And I was like, what? I was like,
true.
He sent me text message because he was texting directly with the broker all morning, his whole way there. And he sent me screenshots of the text. I had emails, location, him being on location, the times. And she tried, no, he didn't check in. He didn't check into the right receiver. He never checked in. My customer's telling me he never checked in. So that's how my office phone got busted.
And what her customer is telling her is that you gave me the wrong PO number. We're not paying layovers, and she doesn't want to pay them to the carrier.
That's right.
That's what's going on.
They're trying to get out.
Yeah, and and a lot of times we tell our guys to keep an extra Benjamin inside their wallet. When you show up and you say, "Look, dude, I know it's 5 o'clock. I know you're going home. I got kids and a wife. I gave you $100. Could you pull these 12 off for me?"
We do the same
I told
thing.
guys that. Yeah, I tell guys that.
Yeah.
12
And it works. I mean, it's we build it back. We build it back to the 3PL before as well, because they know that they gave unrealistic parameters or bad information. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm to the point.
Mark Chavez has been known to give the receiver donuts.
Mark gives them donuts.
And now I'm to the point. Lee's like, well, are they going to pay me to redeliver it or this or that? And I'm like, I'll try. I'll do my best, but I don't. I'm to the point where I'm just paying them out of my pocket just to leave the headache alone.
Yeah, I've had
to redeliver it.
I've had situations with Jesse, our company driver, where he's, and he runs a reefer, so everything's tight. You got to be there. These food warehouses, most of them, especially on the East Coast, are tough. You know about that, Christian.
Yeah.
And Jesse's a good driver. He gets there on time. But I've had a few incidents where he was, they didn't want to unload him. He did his job. And I'm like, all right, start at $50, Jesse. Go in there. I'll cash app you. Start at 50, go up in $20 increments, and let's see where we end up.
That's right.
And it's worked. I mean, I'd rather do that than go through a whole mess. And I know you do the same, Mike. It's just sometimes it works, not always.
Yeah.
A couple things this week, and guys, chime in whenever you want. So on the DAT webinar that we watch in the office, and this is the national average, the van load to truck ratio this week was 4.77 loads to one truck. The reefer load to truck ratio was 8.53. Both of those down just a little. And then flatbed was down a little too, 79.94, almost 80 loads per truck. The fuel surcharge this week is 39 cents a mile. The van average national rate was $2.39 plus fuel. The top 10 markets for van, $2.62 plus fuel, so plus the 39-cent fuel surcharge. The top 10 markets, $2.62 plus fuel and van. West Coast capacity is still tight. Average van out of Ontario, California. And these are average rate per mile, so this is counting all the short loads and long loads, but I'll give you an idea of something longer. An average out of Ontario was $3.21 plus fuel. Out of LA, it was a little less, $3.07 plus fuel. So that does, an average, takes in everything. So LA to Chicago on those 2,000 miles is $2.77 plus fuel. So, and LA average outbound is $3.07 plus fuel. So that's counting a lot of short loads coming out of there too, that the rate per mile is a lot higher. But reefer.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to tell you a funny story about Californian rates. I had a buddy of mine call me up and say, hey, I got a pickup truck I bought a super deal out of Sacramento. I need to get it back to Oklahoma. And I was like, okay, cool. So he's like, hey, you mind seeing if you get some rates? He's like, it's about 21 foot and it's 9 foot high because it's got a weird looking mechanical extension off the bed. And so I said, yeah, no problem. I said, do you have a target in place? What's your target? He goes, I don't know. Just let me know what you can find. So give me a target. He said, I'd like to be, less than $1,300. I said, I don't think we can do anything with it, but I'll post it up, see what I can do. I said, you're probably better off going to U-Ship. And he's like, yeah, I already did.
That's why.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming to the business to have me compete with someone that you're just going directly online with.
Yeah.
And I said, what'd they tell you? $1,300? He said, yeah. And, online, outside of that, it was, $2,200 to $2,500. I mean, we didn't bounce around with it much because we're not going to beat that. But with that market out there, it's just killing. Just make sure you're not trying to do any favors for any friends.
Right. Yeah, especially coming off the West Coast. Reefer off the West Coast, average national rate 276 plus fuel. Still tight capacity. Average reefer out of Ontario was 366 plus fuel, and out of LA 357 plus fuel. I thought this was interesting. Lodi, California. I guess they're at the end of some of their berries, the berry season or whatever. But Lodi, California, to Seattle on that 800 miles, average rate was 441 plus fuel. And Mark, you were in a dry van, but you were getting that kind of rate going up a few weeks ago when we sent you from home up to Seattle area. I think it was where we sent you. And then flat rate average national rate per mile 269 plus fuel. Memphis and Houston, I think, are one of the few top markets for flatbed outbound. I just learned that. I didn't know that. 383 plus fuel coming outbound from Memphis, and then Houston average outbound on flatbed 287 plus fuel. And then the forecast for all three trailers is still up. They're saying short term by July 4th should look at about 245 plus fuel for van national average, reefer around 290 plus fuel, and flat around 275 plus fuel getting into the month of July. And keep in mind, guys, we do have that Blitz. I think, Christian, is that DOT Blitz the week of the 4th of July? I know we talked about
I've got my notes. It's over on the other desk.
Yeah, it's around that time, I'm pretty sure.
I can pull it up. Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah. So, Christian, what's going on over there in Roanoke? What are you guys seeing?
This guy. Well, I didn't see this guy. He was in Roanoke on Saturday, Aaron Lewis. I was putting a bass pond in for my son for most of the day and didn't have the energy. And, it's all about funds. So I got to miss him. As far as Roanoke goes, and I was pulling up that DOT audits. Oh, give me 1 second here. I'll pull it up.
While you're doing that, I'll tell you guys, I had a great time in Aruba. If you ever get the chance to go, I highly recommend it. And I've traveled all over the world from when I was young in the military, and then afterwards, just, Caribbean islands. I've been to Cancun and Puerto Vallarta. I've been in a lot of places. I lived in Hawaii for a couple of years when I was in the Army. Aruba was undoubtedly my favorite island I've ever been to. It wasn't hot, like humid, and I don't like humidity. It was dry like a desert, and it was 84. It's 84 degrees all year. Doesn't rain. It rains a little bit throughout the night. You don't even notice it. And the wind is 20 mile an hour or above all the time. So it's just beautiful. It's nice, and I really enjoyed it. I'll put some pictures up, or Matthew might have already, of our trip. But the water was crystal clear blue. And I had a really cool tour guide. We went on a Saturday. We went on a Jeep tour, and we toured the national park and saw all the So we stayed on the west side of the island, which is really calm, where all the resorts are. The water's just absolutely gorgeous. The east side of the island is where they get all these, I guess, easterly trade winds off the coast of Africa. So it's really a battered coast, and the big cliffs, and so we got to explore that on Saturday all day, and it was nice not being on a group tour. We had this guy Jurgen, who was fantastic. His company is ADG Tours, and Matthew's gonna put together. We did take Matthew's GoPro, so I got about 40 minutes of GoPro video. He'll condense that down and throw it up on our channel if anybody wants to watch what I filmed. But it was pretty amazing, and Jurgen was great. I mean, he was well informed. We learned a lot about we were off the beaten path, just seeing the real Aruba off the tourist, trap area, I guess you could say, and it was pretty amazing. But go ahead, Christian.
That's cool. No, that's fine. I've never been outside the state, so sounds like a pretty place.
Well, you need to go. Call Jurgen.
So DOT Blitz, it was July 11th through the 17th was the safety, and then August 22nd through the 29th is the other one you mentioned, which is the brake check in August. So 11th to the 17th, general safety, and then August 22nd to the 29th.
Okay. So there's 2 left.
Yeah, fun time. And then, by the way, they did say that there was another one that they're just going to throw in randomly without any notice as well. Yeah.
Well, at least we get a notice for 2 of them.
Yeah, it's a good time.
So you guys been busy on the trucking side over there?
Yeah, on the asset side, we've been hammering away. We've got pricing that we're releasing to one of our customers, just kind of with the market where it's going. We held up for a while and didn't adjust a lot of prices too aggressively, but with what's in there, it's a drop trailer customer, so it's one of these things that if we're going to drop assets, we need to make sure that we're compensating, and also the drivers for the period that we're here. And then we have another one which put out an RFQ right now. I'm not sure what they're thinking. I just would have kept the lanes that they had with the people, but I guess they're figuring some additional sourcing. Carrier sourcing might help their rates. That's the only thing I can think of why they would want to put a request for pricing or a request for quotes out right now.
Yeah, it's just with the way capacity is, it's going to be tough for them to. Well, like Ryan said, they were 28th or something, and that customer was calling them for pricing. So.
Yep.
Well,
and did I miss Dotty? Did you share screen share today or anything?
No, I didn't. I didn't have much going on.
They were all stuck.
Yeah, all my guys were stuck. I mean, Lee pulled it off. Aside from Lee's redelivery, I mean, he pulled it off through the weekend. He did like, coming out of Texas from like Thursday, he did 7,777, 306 on all miles. He went home. He does have to redeliver that load, but he didn't do bad. That's the only one that he still was able to pull it off after the redelivery. But and John got him a good step deck load down to just some of those green power boxes, electric boxes.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. What am I? You know what I'm trying to say? Transformers. Yeah. With like 2 stops down in Texas. Yeah, I got them 4550 on like 1,100 miles. I think it was down from Missouri to Texas. So.
Yeah, Missouri. should be pretty hot. That's a good rate. But
it's stroking right now. Yeah.
But so Christian, what are you seeing
together here?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what are you seeing with the freight waves, and what are they saying?
So I did not pull that up here today. I was a little pressed on time. I had issues with my payroll provider for about 3 hours today, but I did go ahead and kind of do a kind of a Doty version. Let me see here. I'll screen share real quick if you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Let's go. So this is on equipment. I didn't ask the driver if I could use his information, but generally speaking, he started. It's a reefer in Swedesboro, New Jersey. He went up to Schenectady, New York. Carried and held on the load, did 33.75 on 516 miles. Generally, this is not a driver that stays in the Northeast. So having him up there was not a level of discomfort, but obviously if you're taking 90 and you're paying tolls, you want to make sure it's worth your while. So
you got to get the money.
Once he got empty in Schenectady, we deadheaded him over to Lowville down to Sodas, and that was 235 miles for $1,500. Then on top of that, he went ahead and picked up a load in Syracuse, New York, going over to Plymouth. And I've changed the routing so it didn't go through Canada because that's not the route he took. And then from there, he took a Paw Paw, Michigan, ended up in Northampton, Mass. So all in, he did about 2150 miles. He did 9,875 on the revenue, about 459 per mile. So that was a pretty banging setup on the reefer.
And when I do help book some of our reefers, that one right there, 235 miles for 1,500.
Yeah.
I love those loads, especially during the week. Well, that's what time you want to do it. But, and I've done a lot of that on the East Coast. Not so much New York City area, but, in the East.
Right.
But, I always like searching from shortest loads to longest and in that order during the week for especially for reefers. And those 100, 200-mile loads, just push them as hard as you can get into the mid-teens. I mean, you can make a really nice week, and the drivers love it when they're, pulling a couple 100 miles or less in one day and, making good money.
Yeah. And they get to reset their clock too. I mean, and so if they're not switching days and nights, they keep fresh. They're able to get in the truck stops before everybody else does, and they're able to get rested and good. So here are the pickups. I didn't have all these are all the deliveries, excuse me. I didn't have all the pickups and the deadhead mileage, which I'll cover on the next screen. But here is one of the other routes that we had, which is Glen Carvin, Illinois, Rochester, Minnesota, Joplin, Hutchinson, Kansas, and North Platte, Nebraska. And that was Eric Mathanis. This is one of the reports that we have out of our system, which generates a couple things, and it's kind of an at a glance. Again, it starts off to the left with the driver's name, and then it has the occupancy-based revenue, what his actual truck occupancy was for the week, what our target revenue for that driver is, and that's a seasonal number that will change based on the market conditions, what their actual gross revenue is, their cent per mile, and then the mileage that they had that week. And so the occupancy is based upon whether they're able to be dispatched without interruption. If there's time off for home time, or the fact that it's maintenance, it doesn't count as occupied time, because while each day only equates to 14%, give or take, of the week, it's going to equate to, at the end of it, if you miss a day, it's going to be 30 to 40% of your paycheck. So we really push on making sure that drivers understand the correlation between occupancy and profitability. It's not just I occupy the truck to make money, but if I miss one day because a shipper holds me up, or I have inclement weather, or there's a traffic concern, that can be detrimental if you don't have a dispatcher that's adjusting your time frame, your mileage, and your routing after that.
Right.
And so here we have Eric, who did that Glen Carvin, Rochester, Joplin, Hutchinson, North Platte. He did 10.4 gross revenue, so he hit 139%. He was at 100% of the time and did about 40% higher than our target. And then here's Cale. He did not make a pickup. I believe that was a scheduling issue on our side.
Are those what kind of trailer were those guys in?
So these are reefers. These are both reefer trailers. Yep. And he got pushed back with the time on one. So Cale had kind of the same thing, Mike, that you're looking at, almost an unfair week where there was a planning issue. And I don't mean planning as in like our office had a planning issue, but it was a circumstance that arose. Then he came here Tuesday so we could discuss it. How are we running our hours? Are we efficiently taking our 34 hours? And Cale's a home run guy. I mean, he's the kind of guy that you lock him in, you put the freight on him, and he's going to move that truck and keep that left door shut. So, that's the occupancy-based revenue, which is really good that we share that with the drivers. Ultimately, if you're not occupying the truck, that needle, those expenses are moving back so much quicker than they ever move forward. I never understood that, hey, if I don't get a good piece of freight, I'm going to sit.
I'm the same way. When I was driving, and I was booking my own loads, I take a cheap load to get out of an area. I'm not going to sit there and wait for something better. Mike, you did it a little different than me. You would post your truck, and you'd kind of wait it out a little. I know you didn't wait long. I mean, you made good money.
Only if I was in a good area and I delivered in the morning, I would try to play that afternoon thing where I post my truck and see it, and a lot of times I would get it, or it would just depend on how I feel. If I felt like running and got something good, and got that call, or sit till the next morning. But for the most part, I didn't sit. I would run recaps for 2 or 3 months straight. I think the longest I ever ran recaps was about 3 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't. Even coming out of Florida, I didn't. Unless I had a better load sitting somewhere waiting, that taking a cheap load out of Florida was going to cause me to miss that load, I would take the cheap load out of Florida short, and just to get to the next area. It's all math, I guess. I would, do the math basically and see what made sense. But unless, that short load was going to cause me to miss, a better paying load, I would just take it rather than deadhead.
Hey, Christian, can you start running me one of those occupancy reports for Ray Nieto? Because
I sure can. Yeah, I'd love to.
He's going to be like some of those low credit scores that we saw on the cameras. Ray's always home, and I like messing with him.
Yeah.
So speaking of Ray, and speaking of Kumar and Mark, we're going to get to that. Mark, Ray are going to battle Kumar in trucking questions with Kumar. But before we do that, let's go to our wide world of sports anchor, Joel Howle.
Anchor.
Joel, what's going on in sports?
Right, let's get to it. Well, thank you, fellas, as always. And Russ, I'm glad that you were able to recover your luggage.
Oh, yes. They lost my luggage. I had to go pick it up last night at the airport.
All right. We'll get into it. This week in sports, the big news is the playoffs. We have the NBA playoffs semifinals going on right now, and in the East we have Atlanta and Philadelphia all tied up at 1, and we have Brooklyn 2-0 over Milwaukee. What happened to the Bucks? They are getting destroyed. Out in the West, we have Phoenix and Denver, who are, as I was, Phoenix is 1-0 over Denver, and Utah and the LA Clippers are all knotted up at 1.
And the Lakers and LeBron have made an exit.
That was last week.
Of the playoffs. Well, I missed a lot when I was gone. I wasn't watching ESPN the whole time, so I saw the Clippers won.
No, the Clippers lost. they are down 1-0 to
No,
Utah
I
right
meant with the Mavericks series when they played Dallas.
Right.
Because I left, that series was still going on.
Right. They maxed it out, and then they had to go on the road. So that was a good game to bet on if you like doing that kind of thing. Over in the NHL, second round of the playoffs, we have over in the East, the New York Islanders lead the Boston Bruins 3-2. That one going to 6 tonight. In the North, we had Montreal swept the Winnipeg Jets 4-0. They await the winner of the Vegas-Colorado series. Out west, we have Vegas 3-2 up over the Colorado Avalanche. And in the Central, Tampa Bay wins 4-1 over Carolina, and they'll wait the winner of the Islanders-Bruins series. Over in Major League Baseball, out in the American League, Tampa Bay leads the Boston Red Sox by 1.5 games. The Chicago White Sox are 4 up over the Indians, and Oakland still leading the West 1 game up over Houston. Over in the National League, we have the Mets up 2.5 games up over the Braves, Milwaukee a half game up over the Cubbies, and San Fran 2.5 games up over the San Diego Padres. Over in the NFL, the only news to report this week, we had Julio Jones going to the Tennessee Titans for a second-round draft pick. Really, Atlanta? Julio changed his number to number 2 from 11. He'll be teaming up with,
He's going to Chicago?
He's going to Tennessee Titans.
Oh, the Titans.
Yeah, and they are now favored to meet Cleveland in the AFC Championship game, I hope.
Yeah, the Titans are going to be there, I think, in the
Buffalo, Kansas
playoffs
City,
next year. How many?
Cleveland, Tennessee.
So we got
in the East.
about 60 days left till football. Actually, Joel, to NFL football, right?
Right. We have minicamp starting in July. Mandatories started this week. No sign of Mr. Rogers.
I was going to ask you about him. Where's he? What island is he on right now?
I think he's
with his
on
new girlfriend.
some kind of new dating site. I don't know, but the report is his teammates have his back, so it's going to get expensive, probably.
I don't see how they can bring him back. It's a lose-lose situation, I think, for Green Bay.
They own his rights throughout 2023.
Well, I know that, but you bring him back, and you're going to have like a disgruntled locker room, I think, one way or the other. And then if you, the best thing they could do, in my opinion, and I don't know, I don't know all the answers, but is you trade him. You get some draft picks for next year.
Get value while you can.
Get as much. Yeah, he was the MVP of the league last year.
Yep. All right, Kumar, do you have anything in MMA this week?
Well, I guess. So Logan Paul went against Floyd Mayweather. There was no winner.
I thought they went the distance. I did read that when I was traveling.
Yeah, they went but
Logan said he won.
Who did they declare
anybody?
the winner?
He won soon as Logan Paul won soon as Mayweather agreed to take the fight.
Well,
And I guess you could say Logan won by lasting as long for the whole time.
I thought there was no winner regardless of
how did that
It's a
work?
joke the whole time.
It was just a fight.
It was
no
like a
winner.
schoolyard fight, basically, but it went rounds.
That was real bad.
Hey, Russ, to put it into perspective, you remember in Rocky when he fought Hulk Hogan for the exhibition and Hulk got mad?
There you go.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
It was basically just a cash grab. Floyd Mayweather even said that it was a robbery. He was like, "Yeah, I'm robbing banks right now. That's all I'm doing."
I'm the best at legal robbery. Yeah.
I wasn't really sure where he was going with it, but I did read that.
Yeah, and but I will say that he did hit Logan with a pretty nice punch that seemed to, I think, knock Logan out for a minute, but
and then he caught him.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather held him up.
He got held up. Yeah, he got held up. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was able to catch his bearings, but yeah, that says something, I think.
Was that a pay-per-view fight?
Yeah, Showtime pay-per-view. I didn't pay for it. I just saw the highlights.
I didn't pay for it either. If we're going on record, I did not pay for it.
I refuse.
So, Ray and Mark, are you with me?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
Ray? All right. Joel,
I'm here.
you got your questions for Kumar this week. Ray,
Yeah, we're doing questions.
Mark, don't answer the questions until we give Kumar a chance, and he has to eat sardines this week if he gets them wrong.
Oh no!
I almost put ginger.
Okay.
I brought some sardines.
Can we do
back
this
from
on
Aruba,
camera?
And they've been sitting out in the sun.
They're better
Fresh
like
Peruvian
that.
sardines.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing some questions.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, this week we're going to do some multiple choice, Coon.
I like it.
All right, so here we go. What does the gold bulldog signify on the hood of a Mack truck? A rich owner. B, a Mack powertrain. C, an engine with more than 550 horsepower. D, a dog lover.
Wow. I never thought about that.
You ever seen one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Read your answers again, Joel, while he's thinking.
All right. A rich owner. B, a Mack powertrain. C, an engine with more than 550 horsepower. D, a dog lover.
C.
Judges, and the correct answer is B, a Mack
Mack
powertrain.
Oh, okay.
Ray.
Wait. So how does
Hey,
that?
we didn't get a chance to answer that.
Yeah, you didn't give Ray and Mark a chance.
Oh, I guess you don't.
They would have got it wrong anyways.
I don't know.
They would have guessed rich
No,
owner.
I actually knew the answer.
Mark was going to phone a
It was
friend.
Rhode-
Why exactly?
I knew what it was.
Why does the bulldog represent that?
The gold bulldog.
Because Mack is the make of the truck.
Right.
Okay.
The mascot.
So
But okay,
the
it's just
powertrain.
the mask.
Engine,
Okay.
yeah, the
Good
engine
ornament.
and transmission. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
an ornament on the hood.
Instead of chandeliers, they have a gold bulldog. All right. For another question. Here we go. Is this for Ray? Ray.
No, they're all for Kumar.
All right.
And
All
give
right.
Ray
No, they're all
and
for
Mark a
Kumar,
chance.
but
All right,
if
this time-
we
all right.
we get a chance to.
All right, here we go. When traveling in heavy traffic, the safest driving speed is A, the posted speed limit. B, the speed of surrounding traffic. C, a speed much slower than the flow of surrounding traffic.
C.
Ray, Mark.
I think he's right. I think it's C as well.
Yeah, I think he's right too. That's what I would do.
You said C, go slower than the flow of surrounding traffic?
I think it's B. The go with the flow of traffic.
All right, ready for the answer?
But
Is-
don't follow too closely, or your camera will pick it up and you will
Right, you know.
get dinged on points.
Especially in Memphis. We're gonna go 45 through. Well, the answer is the speed of surrounding traffic.
I was right.
Oh, darn!
I beat
So
all
we're
three
both-
of you on that one. Let's go.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
go.
I was thinking about the signs, because it's always the trucks have to drive less fast than I don't know why I blanked on that.
Less fast.
Less fast
Slower.
than
Less fast or more slow?
No, less fast.
Go more slow.
word.
They got to go more slow.
More slow.
All right, question
That's
3.
funny.
What's the first thing you need to do during a pre-trip inspection of the air brakes? A, apply the brakes and hold. B, start the engine. C, fan the brakes. D, drain the air tanks.
So you're talking about when you're doing your pre-trip and you're checking
Yeah, what's the first thing you
for,
do?
for air pressure. Okay.
Right. when
Read
you-
those answers again.
All right. Question. What's the first thing you need to do during a pre-trip inspection of the air brakes? A, apply the brakes and hold. B, start the engine. C, fan the brakes. D, drain the air tanks.
I don't know if this is a trick
is a
question
hard
or
one.
not, but I'm gonna go with B.
You know what? What do you say, Ray?
Well, I think you got to start the engine to do to do it. So let's just say
Yeah.
that's right.
I was good.
Well, what's the next
I was
thing
gonna
you
say
do?
start the engine,
said
but
yeah,
that's
like,
kind of
yeah.
common sense, right?
Let me get the
So
question.
What'd you say, Ray?
if you, I was gonna say you're right about starting the engine, but that would seem to me like common sense. I mean, you would have to
Yeah,
start the
that's why I'm
engine
like, is this a trick
in
question?
order
So-
to build
It
up
was.
your air pressure first,
It was.
and then once you get your air pressure built up, then you
So-
apply your brake.
Right.
Shut off your engine. So I say start your engine. Yeah, I'm gonna go with start your engine.
But let's
And then
leave that
A.
one out. What were the other three answers?
The other three answers were
Fan your
apply the brakes and hold, fan the brakes, or drain the air tanks.
What do you think, Goom?
A.
Apply the brakes and hold.
Mm-hmm.
I say that's wrong. What do you guys say? Mark, Ray?
Okay, so I'm gonna think about this a little bit. I'm just gonna word cut this. If we start the engine, we're building up air pressure. So then we push in the brakes and hold. Right? You don't fan the brakes until after you pushed in the brakes and hold. So you're gonna fan the brakes and hold. Push the brakes and hold. I'm gonna go with that answer. I'll go with that answer.
No, you had it right. Start the engine so you can build your air
So you guys are just trying to make it so that I didn't get the answer.
I thought you fanned the brakes down to lose the pressure, and then you can.
Second thing you do.
Okay. You'd have to build up pressure first, so start the engine. But I would thought that was common sense. That would be an irrelevant question. Is the way I thought of it.
Yeah, well,
I love the intentional mislead there. That was great.
What's a pre-trip?
Show 9. I still can't get the questions right.
All right, Joel,
now the next question is what's a pre-trip?
Here we go. What is the maximum air pressure in your air brake system? A, 100 psi. B, 110. C, 120. D, 150.
Oh, it's D 150.
150.
Right? The maximum air
150.
pressure legally.
120.
Okay.
120.
Legally.
Right.
Okay.
120.
So
Ray,
my
you
truck
gotta
pretty
get-
good
Confident
shop
with that
brothers.
answer.
Well, I was hoping it was right, so I would.
I need a few
seem like
more
I knew
days
it.
off because my truck needs to go to a shop.
Yeah, Ray's been at home at his daughter's graduation for 2 weeks.
I'm updating the occupancy report as we speak, Russ.
Thank you. Thank you. We need that every week. Ray, we're gonna do one on the show about your occupancy.
I'm not really good with math, Ray. What's 0 plus 0 for occupancy? I'm having a hard time over here.
Times 0.
I don't got a calculator either, man.
So, Joel, you got another one?
Do
Or?
one more?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is It's kind of
This
hard.
is it. Let's
All right.
go.
Which of the following sources is most likely to be the cause of white exhaust smoke? A, incompletely burned fuel. B, water in the combustion chamber. C, oil being burned in the combustion chamber. D, irregular fuel distribution. That was a hard one.
I know it.
I do too. It's B.
Are you a mechanic or something?
Ray?
Yeah.
Ray, Mark?
Yeah, it's B.
Good
It's
job.
B.
Really?
Isn't that when a new
Unless I
Pope
answer
comes
for
out?
me.
The white
I
smoke?
thought it was oil. I thought it was oil that caused the white smoke.
Well, it would
That's
probably
usually
be
on a
black,
gasoline
right?
engine.
Right. If water
That's
causes,
incomplete.
Yeah,
right?
I guess it depends on how hot it's burning.
I guess you don't want
Yeah,
water in your
if
engine.
Yeah, when there's water in your engine, usually that happens in the morning, and after the engine boosts up to operating temperature, it goes away.
Also, if you're having, and I've experienced this
condensation.
firsthand, and I know most of our drivers have, at one point or another, with the DPF system, if you're clogged, that'll start spewing white smoke underneath, you know.
Yeah.
Just from
G-rated?
Yeah, when it gets clogged up, when your filter's clogged.
That's a lot of what causes fires and those things.
Yeah.
Things. Or you park, or they're parked somewhere on the side of the road, and there's that little limb that's just poking under the truck just enough to, when it regens as it's idling all night, you know, just enough to catch the whole limb or grass on fire.
What's that, Christian?
Do you guys have a partner up there in Ohio? Do you guys have a partner for DPFs in Ohio?
Yeah, I mean, we got a mechanic here, but we've got one in Georgia too. But Troy here, he'll change filters, and you know, he's not gonna get into motor work though. You know, he'll change filters.
Yeah, because I know if you guys get stuck, I mean, I don't normally back people in their business, but we use DPF Alternatives out of Roanoke, and it's not a shake and bake, so it's not like they're just blowing it and baking it. It's actually a flush and an ultrasonic wash.
Yeah.
I never have problems. They have a 1 year warranty. They have a 1 year warranty on it. And
what do they charge?
Junior's companies.
If you don't mind me asking, or roughly.
It's a 5-stage. It depends on how many stages you want, but I mean, it's like $500. I mean, it's not killer. I mean, I'll get you some information, and I could probably, if you want Junior to try to join us one day, he'd probably love to be on. Super inspirational guy, kind of a great story, you know, kind of like prime athletic, but I swear when I send my trucks in there, I never touch them again.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ray.
Hey, if you don't mind, Christian, I was going to add to that too, that the way he's doing it, flushing them and flushing the filters, the DPF filters, actually the best way to clean them out, because when you bake it, you shorten the life of that filter. Every time it's baked, I believe the OEM only allows you to bake it twice before you have to replace it. And if you flush it, it's under you can flush them every year.
Yeah. It's actually, they don't recommend the shake and bake process anymore. So the ultrasonic wash and the flush is the way that they stand behind. Yeah. Essentially, when you buy a remanufactured filter, you know how you used to pay 4 years ago $2,500 for a filter? That's all they were doing. They were just taking the same process that's now out there privately and doing that, and then reselling you a filter that has been done for God knows what kind of margin. So if it's something you're interested in, it's a really cool process.
Definitely. You know, we try.
Yeah, you can do it with a power washer at home too. You could do it with a power wash at the house, and if you have software to do a forced regen, you could do wash it. Basically, the direction the smoke is going to go into your DPF, you're going to turn it around upside down and pressure wash it going the opposite. You're going to force it to come out the same direction it came in.
That it went in.
And then you let it dry. You let it dry completely, about maybe 24 hours. Stick it back in and do a force regen, and the computer will read the lower soot level, and it'll reset. It'll reset itself.
Cool. Yeah, and that'll work at least. I know for a period of time.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this a while back. Yeah.
I think Mark, Ray, and I have talked about DPF issues for about 6 years. It's always a subject in trucking.
Hey, and I'm going to put it out there too. My truck is in need of a knock sensor, upstream knock sensor. And I've gone to Kenworth and Peterbilt, and they won't sell you one. There's a national back order on these things, and if I put in, the only way that they'll actually give me one is if I put it in their shop to get it diagnosed, and then it's going to be a back order of about maybe 1 to 2 weeks before I can actually get it. So, and that's happening everywhere with all makes and models and trucks.
Yeah. So and also Ray's truck the new truck Ray bought is also in need of a company driver. So anybody out there that's a good company driver, Ray's based in San Antonio, Texas. He's been on our fleet for years. He's a great guy, and so we're all actively looking for someone for Ray's second truck he bought. It's a really nice T680, and then once we find the right guy that lives in the right area, you'll make good money with Ray and us. Then, Ray, I think, Ray, you're going to put him in the new truck, right, once we find the right person?
Oh, yeah. I'm in love with my old truck.
And he's going to go back in his old truck. So, but I'm just throwing it out there for you, Ray. You guys,
hey, Ray, hit me up next week on that.
What's that?
Yeah, Ray, hit me up and give me the details on your compensation and all for that.
Okay, sure thing.
For the company driver, is it 2 to 3 weeks out? How long do you want them out?
It's kind of flexible.
Okay, so
it's
I'm
kind
flexible. I'm real
jump
flexible.
in here with him. It's kind of flexible, based on the pay is going to be based on experience. If the guy's solid, got good work history, good experience, Ray's going to use our accounting company and payroll company, so there's benefits involved. If the guy's good, solid background, we'll get to where he needs to be. That's we're looking, and Christian, I think where I'm coming from when I say this. Years ago, when I first started out in this, and I was still in a truck, and we were building our company, if you had a heartbeat in a CDL, and Ian will attest to this, we'd probably take you. But these days,
I wish I could say otherwise, but yeah, you're right.
It's changed for us, and we've learned. I guess I could say, Ian, we've learned the hard way a little bit that that's not what we want. We'll pass on a lot of guys looking for the right guy these days, because when you find the right guy, you'll pay him because you know how hard it is to find those guys. So I just wanted to put it out there because Ray did spend the money on that new truck, and I don't do any recruiting on this show, but this is Ray's been with me. He's my really good friend, and we're all looking for the right guy for that truck for Ray. So.
Daryl.
No, Daryl.
I appreciate you guys for that.
Yeah. So Mark Chavez is on the phone. I think we mentioned this a few weeks ago. Mark is he won the safety jacket, the black jacket. Metal Arc sent him that says Mark Egan. Chavez. Stands for Eating Good in the Neighborhood. I mentioned that story on the show before. So that's who Mark is. He's been with us for a long time. One of our really good friends. I love his mother. She always sends me some homemade chile salsa that she makes from California, Southern California. So Mark had an experience this week in the truck, and we wanted him to tell that story. And I've only heard bits and pieces, Mark. So why don't you tell us what happened? I heard it had something to do with your brakes and your pants.
Yeah. Okay. So I was at the Big D truck stop over in Texas, and I was trying to scale my load. And so I got on the scale, and I never pull my brakes when I'm on the scale. I'll wait till the truck stops moving. And now that they have the Weigh My Truck app, once the truck stops moving, then I get on the app and get my weight. Well, I had just finished getting my weight, and I was looking at it, and the broker required a scale ticket, so I pulled up to go and pick up my scale. And so I'm looking at my my weight thing, and totally, I had my foot on the brake, totally forgot to pull my brake, and the truck in front of me moved, so then I moved up forward and was still looking at my app, and so I get out of the truck and start walking towards the door to go get my scale ticket, and another driver comes out, and I'm like 5 feet from the, grabbing the hand to the door, and the guy turns around and he goes, bro, your truck. And I turn around and I look and I see my truck rolling back. And so I take off after it. And this poor guy, he goes and he's trying to hold the truck. And I'm grossed out at almost 80,000 pounds. And this poor guy's trying to hold my truck.
The truck back.
He's not
Did it
holding
work?
the truck. No. So I'm grabbing the handle, and I got one foot up on the step, and I'm bouncing with the truck going backwards, trying to get the door open. And I get up on the step, and it's still rolling back, and I'm reaching over trying to pull the yellow button, when all of a sudden my shorts dropped to my ankle. And the guy that was helping me,
I heard it.
Door open. Pants, shorts down to my ankles, and the guy that was helping me let go of the truck and said, "Oh," and I'm like thinking, "Oh my God, my butt's hanging out," and I'm like trying to pull the handle, and I'm too far out where I can't get the right angle to pull it out, so I grabbed the trailer brake here on the steering wheel, and hit it down, and the trailer brake's locked. Now the truck is bouncing back and forth, and I'm holding on to the steering wheel, swinging like Magilla Gorilla, trying to reach my shorts, and I couldn't get them. Finally, the truck stops. I go inside, pull the brakes, hop out of the truck, pull my shorts up, and thank the guy. And I'm walking in, and there's a girl at the counter, and she's got this smirk on her face.
She asked for your number.
Well, Mark.
No, she goes, what happened? Yeah.
Well, we got footage of this, just so you know, so we're going to put that up on the show.
Oh, my God. Wait.
Was it the Big D in Irving, Texas?
We're gonna see if
was in Irving, Texas.
I'm just kidding, Mark. We don't have footage, but we are going to call the truck stop.
After this is done, I'm going to see if anybody got a video of that.
Yeah, we're actively looking.
I'm going to call Trish.
Yeah, we're going to need that safety
here's the
jacket
funny part.
back.
Here's the funny part. I go inside, and the lady goes, what happened? And then I go, my truck was rolling back, and she goes, mm-hmm. And then I go, did you see what happened? She goes, mm-hmm. And I'm looking. She's got her camera of her phone
so
facing
she did
the window.
And
I
she
go,
there?
oh my God, I hope she didn't record this. And then I go, you know what? She goes, this happens all the time. And then she goes, but I got to tell you. And then I'm like, yeah. She goes, tremendo boy. In
What's
other
that?
words, tremendous butt.
Sounded nice.
Oh
you.
my
I
God!
thought it was
I
a CDL for that dump truck.
We're gonna get in contact with her, and she'll be on next week's show. So
yeah.
So not one of my proudest moments. I'll tell you that.
I'll
And
put
Mark, you do
$100
have
if she shows over their video.
You have a great safety record, Mark. That was a big slip up. I gotta be honest, that's happened to me once, where I didn't pull my brakes and got out.
You lost your shorts?
Well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't lose my shorts. I just happened to see the truck start rolling right away, jump back up in, and pulled them. But
he wasn't wearing shorts to begin with.
Right. So just a friendly reminder to all drivers out there: make sure you pull your brakes, double check yourself,
and your pants,
your pants.
You also got to check your elastic, man. If it's about 2 years old, it's time to replace it.
Time to replace it, huh?
That's so funny.
Uniform of the day.
Before that happened, my only other embarrassing moment was about 2 weeks ago. I was at a stoplight, and I stalled the truck, and I said to myself, "What a rookie mistake."
And you were a
that
trainer.
Does take the cake. And I was a trainer 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey Ray, how was the the graduation party? I haven't had a chance to talk to you since I've been on vacation for a week, 5 days.
Oh, it was great. We had a pretty good
Still
turnout. We had
It's still going on.
Yeah, so my cousin Primo showed up, and my sister, I had two of my sisters here. We had about 30 people here too. It wasn't a bad thing, and we had 3 briskets going, some Irene's potato salad. I don't know if you remember that potato salad she made over in South Padre Island. So
yeah, I do.
That stuff is great. Yeah, so we had 3 briskets, and they came out perfect, man. Potato salad, all kinds. Oh, it was great, man.
Now, let me tell you, I've been to Ray's family reunion once, and the food, I mean, they go all out. I mean, you can't even get close to the grill without the whole mop gear setup with gloves, and everybody's got tools. They got tool boxes for the grill, right, Ray?
Yeah, and I spend every day, almost every day, all day on the grill.
Yeah,
propane and charcoal.
So yeah, between me and my my cousins and we got a bunch of guys that are really good on the grill. So it's competition here.
Yeah.
Tell them to get a CDL.
Well, listen, I wanted to go over a couple things before we get out of here. There was not a whole lot in the news this weekend, but you had a few things for us. You want to hit that up right now?
Yeah, there are a couple things. Pretty much the most major thing that we could see affecting us is there is a major port in China which has been shut down for I think that it's going to be about 2 weeks. Because
Shenzhen port.
Yeah, I didn't want to even try it.
I got you.
Because of COVID. So what we could end up seeing happening is capacity getting a little bit looser.
They ship everything to the West Coast.
But there is already a huge container shortage going on, or backlog really. So after those couple weeks, the port's going to open again. I think we're going to see it explode.
How long does it take from that Shenzhen port to get to the West Coast?
It is about 25 days. So 25 days, there might be less freight in Cali, West Coast in general. So maybe plan for that. Maybe don't go to California in the next couple weeks. It's a possibility that freight could drop off there, but it will come back again, and it'll come back hard.
Yeah, it's one of their largest ports, I read, and I didn't know it was that long to get there. But there's still a backlog, though, of vessels that are waiting days. And Christian, you might know, but I think they're waiting 4 or 5 days to off the coast to get unloaded.
Yep, stationary. Yep.
So it might help them get some of those ships going, and then you're going to have this port open up. And when I read that, so it says COVID outbreak. Well, it was 1 case of COVID because they had none. Nobody was testing positive. So what I read was it was 1 case, and they shut it down. And then they tested everybody, and there was actually 100 cases of COVID. So it's not like a huge outbreak, but everybody's being so careful with it now. So it's better to be shut down for 12 days than a whole year. So that's It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, a lot of higher-ups are saying that this is already worse than the Suez Canal disaster, and it's going to get, by the end of it, it's the Suez Canal is not even going to be in comparison to what this is going to do to,
it's a major port
shipping
in China.
freight, yeah, over water.
Yeah.
So if our timing is right, you say it's going to be shut down for 2 weeks starting when?
12 days starting now. Or yesterday, right? It was 12 hours ago.
So that's basically, it opens back up on the 22nd.
Approximately, roughly.
And then
that freight,
25 days.
yeah, that's going to be 3 weeks after that.
Yep.
Long Beach.
Yeah, so the week after the week after the Blitz happens, this freight's going to start showing up again.
In California, yeah.
So essentially on the 22nd, this thing will the shutdown will be done. 2 weeks after that, we have the July 11th to the 17th DOT Blitz. So less trucks are on the road, even if that is a freight capacity issue. Mm-hmm. Then the week after our trucks get back out on the road, this is going to start piling up in California.
Yeah. And a lot of this is a lot of electronics, because that Shenzhen port area, they manufacture a ton of computer parts, all kinds of electronics for, you name it, the automobile industry. So I think, well, from what I read, they didn't mention it's a lot of dry van freight. Could be flatbed too.
Well, and our government's already started to put grants together to have electronic components built here in the States, and this might be another proponent of why we need to start doing that.
Yeah,
absolutely. There was another thing in the news. A report was released. Top 250 fleets, almost all of them, are raising their driver rates. It can be up to 25% for company drivers, regional drivers. It is something that's definitely affecting companies, and they're struggling hiring. There's tons of hiring bonuses out there. I think it's something that we're going to see continue to develop, and hopefully benefits the drivers. Absolutely.
I read the long haul. It was the hardest part. Especially after COVID, a lot of guys are trying to stay a little closer to home.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. And they, it was on the DAT thing. They were talking about that this week, that the driver pay especially for long haul, they're going to benefit. The driver's going to benefit from, just the way it all is.
And honestly, these guys deserve it. They haven't been getting what they deserve from these brokers and these shippers.
Yeah.
They haven't been getting it. So I'm glad to see that that's changing.
And I will say this: and Christian, the Dawson fleet, the Deaton fleet here at Meadowlark, we all are close. We work close together. If you are getting to know us on the show, you want to drive for the Dawson or the Deaton fleet, just contact the show. If you live over there by Roanoke or the East Coast where they run, we'll send it over to you. Christian, we're this isn't a recruiting platform, but we are growing. Christian's fleet, the Dawson fleet's growing. So if you are looking to be a part of a team, and if you watch this show, you know us a little bit. So feel free to reach out to us. We're not, like I said earlier, we're not just looking for anybody. We're looking for, the right guys that want to grow with us. Yep. And, my theory has always been that the best way to succeed is to help everybody else around you come up and succeed. And we've always ran our fleet, our office like that. And I know, Christian, you're of the same mindset. Just wanted to put it out there. With that, you got anything else?
I think there's tremendous value in
Go ahead.
I think there's tremendous value in what you said, Russ, that it's also in education. I think the one thing that is consistent, not just on this platform, but what people don't get to see with your office, is the conversations that follow up about making sure guys understand why decisions are being made, so they're a part of the process.
Right.
I know there's a lot of operations out there, and again, this is not a recruiting call, but it's one that if you want to grow as an individual business owner or multiple truck owner, and I'm not even speaking on my behalf, just knowing what you've done on that side, there's a tremendous opportunity there that you don't get when you're hitting a JB Hunt 360 load board, or you're being dispatched by Amazon Power only, because those markets will sway a bit more. So if there's topics or anybody does have any feedback on more of the market that they want to get into rather than just rates and performance, I'm all ears. And, I'd love to dive into different topics as well.
Yeah, and in this business, it's an ever-evolving business, just like us as terminals for Meadowlark. Just like when we switched to, our transport system, when I'm sure you probably felt this. I don't know how you felt, Christian, but I don't like change a whole lot. So when a few years ago, we went to the Transport Pro, and I was like, oh no, what are we doing? It's going to be a nightmare, a mess.
Yeah.
And then
that was Joel last week, right?
Yeah, right. Now we're switching to a new, not 10 Street anymore. I forget what it's called. Driver Reach. And Joel handles the recruiting and onboarding in our office. But this business, it evolves, it changes, and we have to do it together as a team. Ray and Mark, you guys know, man, you've been with me for a long time. We do it together. We talk it out together, just like with Mike Doty, what happened with your guys this week. It's about a conversation. I mean, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't the driver's fault. But, you try and come together as a team and find the solutions. And really, Ian, how many times have I said it in this office? This is a solutions business. That's what we do. We find solutions. We got to keep our cool and work through it together. And Ray, I can't tell you, Mark, how many times you guys have had situations. It's upsetting, but what do? We were like, okay, we're at A, we got to get to C. How do we get there? Is it the straight line or do we go around? What do we do? And
thinking outside the box.
Yeah, and then we have to do that. So, just having said all that, if there's any other drivers, I know on Spotify we've got a ton of listeners. If you're a driver and, you want to be a part of the Deaton fleet or the Dawson fleet, just reach out to us. We'll find you, if you're a fit, we'll find you a good home, either one of our fleets.
And if you're not going to be a good fit too, Russ, we'll tell you that too. Because the one thing that I know you take as serious is that we're not looking to change someone's employment or financial.
Yeah.
Because there's implications to it. If you've got wife, kids, or a bunch of bills and a nice car sitting in the driveway, the last thing we want to do is build a reputation that we're trying to make a square peg going to a round hole. So it's not a fit for everybody, but when it is, it's a good fit.
Yeah, and that's one thing, Ray's been really good for new drivers that come on with us. Ray's always told me, Russ, if you want me to, just talk to them, I give them my phone number. And so that's for any of you guys. If you want to talk to Ray or anybody, he's been with us for a long time, and he'll tell you the real truth, and he does. He's very honest. So
absolutely.
But with all that, couple shout outs we got today. Mike, do you have anything else?
No.
A couple shout outs we got today. Prime Wellness and Performance in San Antonio, Texas. Louis Vasquez's place. And Brian at Truckworx. Brian, we appreciate all that you do. And Over the Road Apparel, work clothes for the modern day trucker. And if no one else has anything, go Browns, go Indians, and go Cavaliers.